What is up everybody, it's Sean here and I am back today to give you guys a review of the Converse Shai 1 in this Masi Blue colorway. So this is the first signature sneaker for the reigning NBA MVP and proud Canadian baller Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The initial butter colorway was pretty difficult to get, but then on October 2nd, Converse dropped a family collection consisting of 3 colorways of this model with a 4th set to come. So there was a Hail Clay colorway, which is inspired by Shai's wife Hailey. There's a Charm Black colorway, which pays homage to his mom Charmaine. There's this one, the Masi Blue, which is a nod to his brother Thomasi. And then there's a 4th gray colorway, which has yet to release. That pair is inspired by his son Aries. So I picked this pair up over from Capsule here locally in Toronto. However, I did want to give a huge thank you over to the Converse Hoops family. After I bought this Masi Blue colorway, they surprised me and sent me over the Hail Clay colorway as well, which I think is perfect because this blue one, I think it's a bit more of a warmer weather colorway, even though it's icy blue. Whereas the Hail Clay colorway, I think this is much more of a wearable colorway for fall. So again, huge thank you over to Converse for sending me over this pair. So all the different colorways retail for the same price of $130 US or $170 here in Canada, which is pretty affordable when I'm so used to buying, for example, New Balance shoes or even retro Jordans, which fetch for a lot more money than these Converses. And while the shoe is nicknamed Masi Blue, the official colorway of this pair is actually True Sky and Light Blue. So first things first, here's a quick look at the box. So this comes in a special box that's uniquely designed for the signature model. As you can see, it's done in the shelf style, so you can pull out the part that actually holds the shoes like so. All over the top, you can see we have that repeating SGA logo, which is the 2 number 2s, one on top of the other, along with this darkened logo in the center on the very top of the box. And then here's a look at the size label. So before I actually get into the details of this review is coming strictly from a casual user's perspective. So I haven't worn these on the basketball court and I don't think I plan to. I think this is a very fashionable sneaker off the court. So with respect to this specific video, it's coming strictly from a casual user's perspective. So if you're looking for an actual performance review, I'm sure there's tons of channels on YouTube that will have you covered. So as we start things off with the toe box, you'll see how this is covered in this light blue material, which almost feels like a synthetic nubuck to the touch. It obviously is much more durable than nubuck, but it has that sort of rougher texture to it when you run your fingers across it. Above this, we have this puffed overlay, which is colored in a lighter shade of blue. And in terms of the material, it has a bit of a nylon-like feel to it to the touch. Moving downwards, you can see we have another puffy layer here surrounding the top portion of the ankle collar area. And then on the back of the shoe, we have this large TPU heel cup with Converse branding on the center of the heel, and this gives you additional structure and support around the back end of the sneaker. Probably the most eye-catching design aspect of this shoe is this zippered shroud. So you can see running down the center of the shoe, you can zip up or zip down this shroud, and as I zip it down, it reveals the laces underneath. So this only comes with one lace option, and they're a tonal, thick rope-style lace in blue. Underneath this, the tongue is predominantly covered in this open style foam with a thin layer of mesh on top of it, giving you some added breathability. On the top of the tongue, we have that same material that we saw on the toe box, again that almost nubuck feeling material, and then embroidered in this tonal blue color, we have the SGA logo in the middle. And the tongue is gusseted, connected to the body of the shoe, giving you more of a sock-like one-to-one fit. So the interior of the shoe and the back of the tongue, this is covered in a silky smooth blue colored liner, and the collar of the shoe is pretty well padded. It has a pretty thick amount of foam covering the back of the shoe. And then for the insoles, this is a foam lined insole, just your basic foam. And again on the heel, we have the SGA logo done in a slightly darker shade of blue. So the upper of the shoe sits atop this foam midsole, but with Converse being part of the Nike family, they were able to utilize a Nike Air Zoom unit, which sits underneath the forefoot. On the heel, when you look at the shoe from the outside, it looks like the midsole is extremely chunky, but your foot actually sits about halfway past this large chunky unit on the heel, and then surrounding the foam, we have a stiffer overlay on the outer edge, which adds stability to the heel of the shoe. Turning this pair over to the bottom, so the outsole here is crafted out of 2 tones of blue rubber. We have a multi-directional traction pattern, along with the Converse logo on the forefoot, and then we have this cutaway on the heel, once again revealing the SGA 2 logo. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this shoe. For those wondering about how these fit, so I had no idea how these were gonna run. I tried to do my research before picking these up, so I opted to go true to size. So in my case, I'm a true size 10, slightly on the wider side. I got these in a size 10, and I do have to say they are pretty snug for someone like me that has a bit of a wider foot. It probably makes sense to go true to size if you're actually going to be balling in these, because you want more of that glove-like or sock-like fit. However, for me, because I'm wearing these casually, I felt that there was a little bit of pressure around the ball of my foot and the top toe box. Maybe it's just a matter of having to wear them and break them in, but my initial thoughts were that yes, they are pretty snug, so if you have a wide foot, I'd probably recommend going up a half size. If you have a narrow or normal width foot, I think true to size should fit you fine for these if you don't mind a slightly snug feeling sneaker, especially around the top portion, the toe box area. But I know this might be a little bit difficult because all these shoes are currently selling out, but if you're somehow able to try these on first before committing to buying a pair of these, then I would definitely recommend doing that, because I feel like this is a bit of a trickier shoe to get the sizing down pat. Next up, in terms of the comfort, so coming from a casual user's perspective, this shoe is actually quite a lot lower to the ground than I thought. Again, just looking at this shoe, you can see how chunky this back heel midsole area looks, but your foot actually sits halfway down past these side walls of foam. So it's gonna give you a lot of ground feel. There is a bit of that bounciness or responsiveness in the forefoot because of the Zoom Air. I wouldn't say that this is like an incredibly comfortable model for casual use. It still is going to be a basketball shoe at the end of the day. But again, being that this is a basketball shoe, this shoe felt a little bit lighter on feet than it looks in person. And the upper of the shoe is actually quite flexible, even though we have that zippered shroud. I didn't really notice too much of this material restricting my movements. So yes, it's not going to be an ultra soft, pillowy sneaker, but given that this is meant to be worn on the court, that's really not a surprise to me. Finally, in terms of the quality and craftsmanship, so first off, material quality was nothing really special. This again is meant to be worn on the court, so they have durability in mind, ventilation, and they didn't go the route where they're giving us high quality, super premium materials. That's fine though. I thought the overall build of the shoe for the most part was really good. No major flaws that I could see, so this being the first time experiencing the Shai ones in hand, I wasn't disappointed whatsoever. So with all of that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, I think this shoe was so close to being really good. It's just I have problems with the fit, with my feet being a little bit wider. It just left it feeling a little bit more uncomfortable than I would have liked. Style-wise, I think it's great. I think it teeters the line between performance and fashion very well, which explains why a lot of people are both wearing these on the court as well as off the court, which is something you don't see too often these days when it comes to modern basketball sneakers. This colorway I think is great. It's a very bright, very airy colorway. And yes, it's kind of like icy blue, but I think it still can be worn a lot during the warmer months of the year. And obviously with the shade being what it is, I think it's definitely a head turner. So leave your thoughts down below. Let me know, what do you guys think about this Masi Blue colorway of the Converse Shai ones? For anyone that has picked up a pair of these, how do they stack up on the court if you're wearing these for performance? But if you're wearing them off the court, how do you think they stack up from a fashion or style perspective? Leave your thoughts about these down below. If you guys enjoyed this review, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'll link my socials down below for you guys to check out. And again, another huge thank you to the Converse Hoops family for sending me over this clay colorway as well. I'm really excited to rock these during the upcoming weeks ahead. I think this is such a great colorway. It's pretty similar to the Butter pair in that it kind of has like a boot-like Timberland vibe or feel. But I think all the colorways that have dropped of this model have been really successful. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you all in my next video.